All right, if anyone has any questions while we're going through this, please feel free to interject. And I will start sharing my screen. Okay, perfect. Right now, you should be seeing our training site at the top. It should say Service Point Training Site. And I'm currently in one of our profiles here named Jennifer Smith. And once I go down the page, you'll see that Jennifer is not involved in any households currently. So there are a couple different ways for you to add a household or add someone to a household. You can actually search for existing households right here on the left in case Jennifer's partner and children maybe have been in the system before, but Jennifer hadn't. And if you click search existing households, what this is going to do, if I scroll up just a little bit here, you'll see at the top it's searching for any household with Smith as the last name of anyone in there. So here we have a female single parent household client count of 2. And if you hit the magnifying glass, you'll see it tells you, okay, Jill Smith and Jack Smith are in this household. And you can go down the list to see if one of these households is what you are looking for. Again, it searches by last name. So if this person has a different last name than their partner, then you would switch to the correct last name and do another search. But from here, if we don't find what we're looking for, we can click Add New Household, or you can actually do it from the profile as well, where you can click Start New Household. Both of them kind of take you in the same location. So let's click Start New Household. And at the very top, it's asking for you to select a household type. And from this dropdown is going to be a couple different household situations that you can look for. Here we could pick on couple with no children or whatever really fits the appropriate situation for this household. I'll just pick couple with no children as an example. And let's say we're looking to add John Smith and Jenny Smith to this household. We can search for John and click search. And you'll notice that I didn't have to type out Smith. It's going to pick the last name of the profile you're under. In this case, we're under Jennifer Smith, so it picks Smith as the last name. So it's automatically going to fill in the last name for you. So if that's not the correct last name for the household members, you're going to want to make sure you're switching that over. Otherwise, you're not going to find the household members you're looking for. And at the bottom here for our client results, we'll see that there is a John Smith right here that we can click the plus sign next to, which will drop their name right here underneath selected clients. And under selected clients, this is where you want all of the household members that you want to create the household for before you click continue. So under selected clients should have everyone you're looking for before you move forward. Let's go ahead and click Jenny Smith because that's who we want to add next. Okay, there we have Jenny and John to the household. And from here, we can click continue. Let's go ahead and continue. And at this point, you can actually just go ahead to the very top and hit save and exit if you were adding an additional person to the household. You don't have to edit anything on the profile from this point. But if this is a fresh, brand new household like the one we're just doing, then from here, you'll want to select who the head of household is. Let's say we want to make Jennifer the head of household. We can click yes for the head of household dropdown. which will automatically adjust the relationships ahead of household field to say self. Okay. And then you'd want to fill out the relationship for the other two household members. So this person could be, if I can scroll down and show you the couple different options. You have a lot of options: father, granddaughter, husband and father, other non-relative. I'll go ahead and pick other non-relative here. And then for John, let's fill out maybe, there we go. Then we just fill out their relationship to head of household. And then we can come up here and click save and exit. And the screen's going to stay processing for a little bit. Depending on how many entries and services the person has, that kind of determines how long your processing period is, but you want to make sure it stops saying processing before you try and do anything else. But here on the left, you can see we have our households, says couple with no children, but here our head of household is listed as Jennifer, Jenny, and then John listed as the father. So now if you were to add a release of information to HMIS, and let's go ahead and just click this add ROI button, you'll see that it shows up here at the very top. So we could maybe fill out this release of information. I'll put it out for, let's see, 3 years for a paper document. And if you forget to choose the household members, you can still add them afterwards. And that's what I want to show you. So if I click save, it shows up right up here at the top. And you can actually click the little pencil symbol. And now what you'll see is this include additional household members button. If you click on that, you'll see the household members to add. So we can select everyone and click continue and click save. So now what this does is it creates the same release on Jenny and John's profiles. So that's essentially how you want to start a new household. Let's say we find out later on that there should be another 2 household members attached to here. You don't have to create a whole new household with all 5. What you could do is click this pencil next to the household you created. You want to make sure that you're only modifying households that you have created and not another provider, because it might cause some issues when it comes to their entries and if they're trying to make any updates. So you really only want to modify households that you created. Let's see here, we can click the pencil. And at this point, we have a add/delete household members button that we can click on to add someone. So we could click this. All right, and some of our users get stuck on this screen because it doesn't look like anything's happening here, but at the bottom, we have this add clients to the household section. There's a little black triangle, I guess, to the left of that title. If you click on that, it shows you that client search page that we saw earlier when we were creating this new household. And so from here, we can try and find maybe Johnny Smith. I'll just type in John so that it shows me all types of Johns or combination of that in the system. It will look like there's a Johnny. So we'll pick Johnny Smith. We'll fill out our name, data, quality dropdown. Since we got the full name, we picked full. Again, you want to make sure that you're selecting what works best in the situation, and make sure you're not picking data not collected for any particular reason. One of the above 4 options should work. So don't pick data not collected. And on the right-hand side here, we can pick, we can enter what the date of birth is. So we could put today's date, but maybe 2010. Now, it's not going to let you fill out all of this child's information. It's really only letting you put in the name and date of birth here. But I'll do one last search just to make sure, and Johnny's not in the system according to my search. And so at this point, we can click Add New Client with this information. If I click that, we'll get this little pop-up that just warns us that, hey, you're about to add a new client to the system. Make sure you look through all the matches before you continue. And we're pretty certain that Johnny's not in the system, so we'll go ahead and click OK. There we go. And what this does now is Johnny is at the very bottom underneath selected clients, and they're ready to be added to the household. So we can click continue. And you'll see Johnny was added up here at the top. And we want to make sure you're selecting Johnny's relationship to the head of household. Again, I'll just pick other relative here. And that's how you would want to add someone to the household that you've created. And I'll just save this real quick. Now, on the off chance that you want to remove someone from the household, what you would do is from this screen, you can click Add/Delete Household Members down here to remove someone, or you can click the little minus sign to say that they've left the household. And when you click that, it gives you a pop-up box that says Client Left Household, and it's asking for a date they left the household. We could say that maybe they left the household today, and click Save. And so it's pretty quick. It just removed John from the household at this point. And what you'll see on the right side, there is this household history report that you can click on, and it will actually kind of show you who joined the household, when they joined the household, what their relationship to head of household was set as, and so on. So in case you look later on and you find that maybe your entries don't have the right people, you can kind of look at the household report to see if maybe it was removed or anything like that. And then we can click Save and Exit, and the household will have updated and changed. And if you make any changes to your household, it's not automatically going to fix the other sections of HMIS that you would have done. So if you added a service and an entry before you updated the household, then you would want to make sure that you're coming back to them and making the necessary changes. And so from here, we can click the pencil, and we'll click Include Additional Household Members here because we want to make sure this is showing our correct household. It should say Jennifer, Jenny, and Johnny. We'll click Include Additional. Now you'll see Johnny is an option for us to choose. Okay. And we'll click Continue. It'll add Johnny. Now we just want to make sure we're removing John from here. And then clicking Save Release of Information. So now if I open that back up, it should just say Jennifer, John. It will Jennifer, Jenny, and John will be unchecked, and then Johnny at the very bottom. Now this doesn't remove the release of information from John's profile. So you do want to make sure that you're sending us a help desk ticket if you included the wrong person, so that we can go in and remove that for you, and then we'll just let you know when it's been removed. Any questions on household so far, how to create a household, how to modify, add, remove someone, anything like that?
Questions?
Yep, Keltina.
Yep, no questions. Gabrielle.
Okay. Awesome. Something else about households is that they're a little bit tricky sometimes if you're working with a client who has multiple household members in different households. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a separate household now under Jennifer's name, but this time we're just going to have Jennifer and John in that household. So as before, we'll click Start New Household. And for our household type, Again, we'll just pick a couple with no children here. And I'm going to find John. Go. I'll search. And here I see this John right here. So go ahead and add that. And we'll click continue. Again, I'll list Jennifer as being the head of household, and then John can be maybe a significant other or something. Okay. And then I can click save and exit up here at the top. So now for anything that you create, whether it's a release of information or an entry or even a service, I'll go ahead and add an entry as an example this time. Now it's going to show you both of the households, and you'll see that John still shows up even though we technically removed him from the household. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention when you're picking your initial household for the entry. Let's say, for example, we pick this couple with no children option with Jennifer and John. And I'll just leave this as the default HLA program right now. And we'll click save and continue. There's no assessment since this is our default HLA program. But what I want to show you is up here at the top where it shows you Jennifer and John and the project start date, who's the head of household, and so on. On the left, you'll see that include additional household members. So this is what you would want to use if, for example, you forgot to pick someone else from the household previously, then you can do that from this screen. You don't have to exit and come back to the entry. But if I click include additional household members, you'll see that it's only going to show me Jennifer and John. Right? It doesn't show me the other households that I could have chosen. And if I exit out of this entry, can I just come back in to show you the previous screen where it has the two? If I click include additional, it still doesn't show me anyone to add. So this is one of the things you want to pay attention to when you're picking the household, is that if you included a whole separate household and you realize, oops, I was supposed to pick the, let's say, the earlier three that had Jennifer, Jenny, and Johnny, then you would want to create a new entry with the correct household and send us a help desk ticket so that we can remove the other one for you. So this is a really important step. If you pick the wrong one and you kind of just keep going, it will make it so that you'll kind of have to remove that entry and create a new one with the appropriate households. We can't mix and match households, unfortunately, when it comes to anything really in HMIS. So this accounts for services and ROIs. They all kind of work the same. If you pick the wrong household, you can't fix that. As it is, you have to remove it and include an additional entry after the fact. Right. The next thing I want to go over is adding updates. If you're ever adding an update in HMIS for any reason, you don't have to reselect the household members again. So up here at the top, we have our entry exit tab. You can't add an update from the client summary page. You have to make sure you go under entry exit up here at the top. And from here, on the entry exit page on the right hand side, you can see where it says client count. It'll show you how many clients are associated with this particular entry. And if we click that, it'll say Jennifer and John. So if you were to add our interim updates from here, we could click the paper symbol under interims and then click add interim review. You'll see that at the top, it automatically selects Jennifer and John. This does not, this is pretty much the one place this happens. For services, ROIs, entries, all of those things, you want to make sure you're picking the right person. But when it comes to adding an update afterwards, you want to make sure you're including the right people So if it's possible that maybe John left the household in between now and when the initial entry was created. And so if you're making an update to that, you'd want to make sure you're unchecking John so that this update doesn't apply to John's profile as well. But interim updates is really the only place that this applies to. So you don't have to worry about that too much. But you do want to make sure that if this person left the household, they're still going to show up as an option for you to choose, especially if it's a recent removal from the household. So you want to make sure that you're unchecking them if they're no longer there. Go ahead and exit out of that. And let's go to our summary page once more. And on the right, bottom right-hand side, we have our add service button. So we could go ahead and let's pretend like we're adding a service. So again, you'll see this household members section. If you're adding a service, it'll show you both of the households that are associated with this person's profile. And you want to be consistent with your entry. So if your entry has this particular household, then that's the household you want to be picking. If your entry had maybe this household without John, then that's what you want to be choosing. Make sure you're being consistent with your entry. Otherwise, it does cause confusion afterwards. If anyone's looking at the data and they'll see that, John received the service even though he left the household already, so it doesn't quite match up with what their notes say. And so it ends up getting a little confusing afterwards for anyone who needs to look at that record. Okay. Again, I'll just go ahead and let's uncheck Johnny real quick, and let's just add a service with Jennifer and Jenny. I'll put our end date for the service to be the same as our start date, and I'll just pick a case management service, for example. Let's click Save and Continue to move on to the next screen. And you'll see here at the top that familiar include additional household members button. So that's what you can click on to add additional folks to that service. So if you maybe only created the service with Jennifer Smith because maybe you've been working with some individuals for a while and you didn't quite remember to click the little checkbox to include folks, don't worry, you can add them later. You just want to make sure that you're double checking with your notes about who is supposed to be receiving this service. So let's go ahead and add Johnny back into here and let's click continue. It'll add Johnny. And then we could fill out the service as appropriate. We'll put our need status to say closed and our outcome need to say fully met. And click save and exit afterwards. There we go. I'll click the entire service history tab so I can see both the need and service. And if I go back to that service, I'll see the people associated with it. So again, services kind of work the same as your entry, where if you click include additional household members after it's been created, it's only going to show you the household you're currently working with. So that household ID 32 that had Jennifer and John, it's not going to show up here for you to pick someone from that household. So again, in that situation, if you maybe pick the wrong household, then the service would need to be removed, and you would want to make sure you're adding another service to capture the correct household members at that point. All right. Any questions? Anything I can clarify for you guys about households? They're a little tricky to kind of get started. Sometimes trips me up sometimes too, to be honest. But once you create your household before you do anything else, it does get a little bit easier afterwards. So my recommendation, if you're doing data entry with a household, is that you create the household first. Make sure that's all set up and done and perfect the way it needs to be. And then you can go ahead and make sure you add your entries and your services So that way you don't have to come back to them to adjust the household members later on.